down about societal pressures while I'm in the car alone, so I don't have to worry about any neighbors or anyone hearing about this. I went to college, university, I went to law school, I became a lawyer, I moved to Europe, I quit my job, and then I moved back home with my parents at 32. So let's talk about how this all happened and societal's pressures to know what you're supposed to do. I'm one of those people that from the time I was young, even through now, I've still been kind of trying to figure out what I want to do with my life long term. I feel like a lot of the things I have done along the way I have enjoyed, and so what I'm hoping in the future is that I can slowly put those things together, such as I studied global business in college, which I really enjoyed. I've always thought maybe in the future I would have some type of business, whether it's a product or service or, whatever the case may be. So that has come together. I don't regret law school. I really like the knowledge and power that going to law school gave me. Being able to read my own contracts, to read leases, to understand a lot of legal jargon that a lot of people don't understand and have to pay for. So eventually, once you get to a certain point, and depending on what you do, you probably will have to hire a lawyer or get one at some point. But at least I can have a good basis and know, depending on what is happening, I won't get ripped off, or I kind of know what's going on in a sense. So I really like the knowledge and power that has given me, and to be able to do a lot of things on my own and kind of given me that knowledge and education and power that I think has really helped me along the way. So I've really enjoyed that. I, of course, enjoyed my time in Spain, and I plan on going back at some point. But unfortunately, as everyone in life, we need money. So I need to work, get something going to save up more money, or I'm trying to generate some money through online services or products or whatever the case may be to save up some money so that I can do that, and then just kind of do the lawyer thing part term would be my ideal situation, but we'll see how that goes. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how I felt along the way. I feel like, especially I'll say from American culture, because obviously I grew up in America, that there is a lot of pressure, even when you're young, to know what you want to do. I can remember from the time of about like 5 to 7 years old, people would always ask, like, what are your interests? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I understand the interest part, because you want to try out different things to figure out what you like, which makes total sense. But, I've always had interests along the way, but I feel like a lot of what I was interested in when I was younger didn't really stand up to or be able to create, at least in my parents' eyes, a business that would last for long periods of time. I really liked to bake when I was younger, and I think for me that goes similar to the fact of liking, let's say, I don't know, just kind of making people happy and spreading joy and doing those kinds of things. I've always enjoyed like creative things as well. So like when we were younger, before, social media was too big, because that didn't come out until Facebook was when I was in middle school, if that ages me at all. I was born in the mid-90s. So we would, make our own dancing videos and things like that. And I've always enjoyed making videos, but never really saw it as a career. I think YouTube started in 2005 or 6, so I would have been 12 or 13, so around middle school. So doing that as a career wasn't really not positive, but popular at the time, or seen really as a career. And especially coming from a family where they kind of wanted, I guess, a more traditional work, whether it's, working for a business or things, creative and arts things were seen more as side hobbies versus an actual career path. So that's kind of always what I had in my mind growing up a lot. And then once I got to high school, you see a lot of these students and, they have great grades, they do all these clubs, they know what they want to do, and I enjoyed doing different things. Like I did cheer and dance team, and I enjoyed doing things with my friends, but I never had a clear idea, like career-wise, what I wanted to do necessarily. So that was kind of always something I was kind of figuring out, I guess. And then of course, slowly, once you get closer to college or university, you look at, okay, what do I want to study? Because that can depend what school you go to. Some schools are more specialized in certain programs, or based on, where you want to be, being in certain areas of the country can affect that. And just kind of the resources and different things that are available at different schools. I, until that point, still didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I kind of just chose business. It is kind of not easy, but it at least can translate to a lot of different things, because pretty much everything is a business now, whether it's something creative or a service, or even starting businesses for tech, engineering, different things like that. So I think that was a good base for me, and kind of just thought about doing that. So that is something that, I was like, okay, I'll just do this. I went and stayed. I didn't want to pay a ton for an out-of-state education because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So just kind of going through those different things. And, once you start, of course, high school, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? College is always on the mind. I think that is very American, is they always want you to be thinking ahead and forward. You can't just enjoy where you are at the time. Like most high school students, especially very ambitious ones, or people who come from families who really push them to do certain things, they're always thinking about what they have to do in the next 5 years. They can't just enjoy high school and be a kid, because they have to get the best grades, join every club, do every sport, come up with something that's going to make their resume look better and their applications look better. And then as time goes on, then you have honors classes and AB classes to get, sometimes you can get college credits for doing certain things. And then worried about, SAT and ACT, and then the application process. And if you have to interview or do anything like that, it really is a lot of work and a lot of things that, you kind of have to future plan a lot. And I think for me, that's been really hard, because I've never had a clear path on what I want to do. So I, tried as good as I could. I was never a great student. I got better as I got older, thankfully. But high school, I wasn't the best. I would do good for a quarter, which is half of a semester. And then I would kind of fall off because nothing, at least the classes, really interested me. You kind of have electives, but it's maybe one a semester or so. It's really not much. And so it doesn't really let you explore. And yeah, I know you have to have the good base of, math and English, and you have to take a foreign language, which in the US really doesn't mean anything. That's kind of like an elective. You just got to do this to do this kind of thing. You don't really learn, sadly. I really wish that they would push that more, because Americans are like the only people who pretty much don't speak two languages by the time they turn 18 or 20. So that's really sad, unless you grow up in a family that speaks a second language. So that's kind of hard. And just kind of feeling, even once I got to the point of university and didn't have a clear idea necessarily, you kind of always feel this guilt of like, did I do enough? Am I doing enough? Like, why haven't I found my passion like other people have found their passions? Even to this day, it's nothing. I don't think I've tried a lot of different things, but sometimes I think a lot of us who don't, know what their passions or their great skill is, by the time you're X age, 20, 25, 30, whatever the case may be, I really wish I did. I wish I was one of those students or those people who tried something and got really good at it, had some special skill, whether that was an instrument or a sport, or if I was really smart in something, or whatever it is. There's so many different things you can be talented in. And while I've had a lot of smaller interests, I've never had one really big interest. And I just kind of wish I did, because I feel like that could make it easier. Like if I was really good at, football or something, then, your goal is to be in the NFL, and then you can do all those fun things. Or, if you're a really good artist and you had some special skill and you could do all that. or playing some type of instrument and be, professional that way. It's kind of hard. And as I got older, I feel like it kind of gets worse and worse, because it's assumed a lot of the time that by the time you get to X age, well, you've had time to figure it out. And yes, I found lots of things that I enjoy, but I haven't found that one thing that I could just do pretty much all day for the rest of my life. At least it could be a career. I always wanted, if I'm being honest, to be a travel blogger. That is something that always really interested me when I was younger, and the more we traveled through time, the more interest it really came for me. I always thought it was so cool to meet people from other cultures and other interests and things like that, and get to know them and kind of what they're doing, and being able to go out and really see the world. We didn't start traveling internationally till I think I was 16, maybe 17, I don't remember, in high school. And that really opened my eyes, and ever since then, that has been one thing that the more I do, the more I love. So we traveled as a family a couple of times internationally to Europe, and then when I was at university, I did a 6-month Erasmus in Barcelona, Spain. That's how I first found that city for myself. So I really enjoyed that and slowly did it more and more. I've taken solo trips by myself. I took a year off between university and law school, which is super uncommon in the US. People here don't take gap years. They don't take sabbaticals. They don't really do any of those types of things. So that's been really different as well. If you meet anyone from Europe or Asia and all these different places, so many of them take gap years after they turn 18, so you can go explore other things, or after university and go explore. Or a lot of European companies can let you take sabbatical. You don't get paid, of course, but at least you're guaranteed to have a job when you come back. So if you need to take time off to travel or explore, or for health issues or whatever the reason may be, it will be there. And I think that's really hard for a lot of Americans, is we're not really given those opportunities. And if you do that, it's kind of looked down on. Like when I started law school and said I took a year off and just traveled, people were like shocked that I didn't do anything else, in a sense, like working or internships or anything like that, that I really just kind of took time to do what I wanted to do. And I'm really glad I did, because then of course I graduated during COVID, which made the job market hard. And then once you kind of start a career, in a sense, then you kind of have to do it for the rest of your life. And there's not a ton of time, especially as an American mindset, to really take time off to explore and to do these things. So I'm really glad I did that and took the time. And I kind of hope through time I'll keep figuring that out. I think that's what I'm still doing now. But you do feel kind of lame when you have this great career, making all this money, you kind of left it to do something else and it didn't work. And now, at least for 4 months, I'm living back at home, unemployed, jobless at 32. It's not the best feeling in the world, but I just kind of want to go through and talk about this, because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about how it feels to really not know what you want to do, and then it can be kind of negative to have many different hobbies instead of just like one main hobby or career in your life. I think for me, this also goes towards the fact that whatever it is in my life, I like having different things. I'm not like a one type of thing for whatever it may be. Like I can't eat the same food every day. I get bored. I don't like having the same perfume. I have a couple different minis I switch through. I don't like doing my same hair every day or wearing the same things. Like I like to switch it up. I don't have 5 of the same t-shirts, but just kind of different things like that. So I think maybe for me, and this might relate to other people who kind of have a drifting mind and are all over the place, that it's okay to feel that way, and you're not the only person who is struggling with these types of things. I think that's kind of been the hardest for me, is feeling like I'm the only one who is going through this, because people don't really talk about it or change. Some people, it seems like they kind of just can fall into different careers, just because of one thing that kind of happens. It's not really a choice to make this drastic change, especially at, let's say, an older age. Like my age, if I was 22, I think it would be a little bit different. But at 32, especially when I did all these previous things, you know, to become a lawyer and working in law and working my way up there. So I think it's kind of different and just kind of good to start a dialogue and talk about these things and kind of explain how it feels and kind of what's going on in the world. So hopefully this kind of resonates with somebody else, or if there are certain things, you know, I've done tests, you know, to say like, oh, you're interested in this or this, and you're either logical, type A, type B, you know, all those kind of things. I think I have a good grasp on what I am in those things, but it still doesn't tell you like what your passion is or what you'll be good at. And I think a lot of things in life too, you have to do it for a while to really figure out if it's for you. You know, even like living somewhere, you know, it takes about a year or so to really kind of get in the habit, do it, and be like, is this something I can really sustain for the next 30, 40, 50 years if you're lucky, or you know, do I need to diversify and do other things? So it's just kind of those shifts, you know, those changes through life that kind of happen. And if you guys have any other thoughts on this or have been feeling the same way, just leave the comment down below. I'm documenting my journey on trying to find a different career path and generate some other income so that I don't have to go back to being a full-time lawyer, because I think long term it'll happen what happened before and I just burn out, and it is just not right for me full-time long term. I think part-time it's good, and just kind of using my skills to help others or working for nonprofits I think would be my ideal situation. Or helping other people maybe who can't read, trying to learn another language, and you know, helping translate legal jargon to people who aren't native English speakers as well. Kind of different things like that. I'm not sure. Still figuring out, as I said. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and continue following along on my series. Bye.